Hi everyone, my name is Aggie Branchik and I'm super happy to be here to tell you a little bit about Quantum Salon and how we think about quantum tech startups. So I'll give you a little bit of a background about my career journey. It was at the start a pretty typical academic career journey. I did my undergrad and PhD at the University of Queensland in Brisbane, Australia. This was in the field of quantum optics. Then I came to Toronto for a postdoc in quantum biology. And then I came to Perimeter Institute, where I spent 7 years doing teaching and research in the fields of quantum theory and quantum optics. So after 7 years at Perimeter, I decided I really wanted to change things up a bit, and I moved over to IBM Quantum. Most of you probably know, but IBM Quantum is the division of IBM that's developing quantum computers using superconducting qubits. There I had various technical and leadership roles. And it was super fun. I learned a lot about industry, about business, and I decided to then kind of go off on my own. So 2 years ago, I left and started my own company, Quantum Salon. So Quantum Salon is a strategic communication studio working within the quantum tech ecosystem. We do communication, so we work with quantum tech startups and organizations to help them explain what they do and why it matters. We also study the quantum ecosystem and share what we learn with the community. We do this on a Substack publication called Insights. And also we're building an interactive visual map of the quantum ecosystem to help people understand how it all fits together. So one of the things that's kind of interesting but also challenging about working in quantum tech is that actually there's huge diversity in many different directions. One of them is from the technology perspective. There are so many different technologies spanning from sensing to communication to computing. There's also these classical technologies on the periphery. On top of the technology diversity, there's market diversity. So all of these companies have very different markets that they're appealing to. There's hardware and software and combinations of those. And then also diversity in stage. So a very early stage startup is going to be quite different to a startup that's about to have an IPO. On top of this, quantum startups are embedded in this extended startup ecosystem. They have to be talking to university and research institutes, corporate partners, accelerators, incubators, investors, government, and hopefully customers at some stage. So, depending on where the startup is, they're going to have to interact with the stakeholders in very different ways. And so one of the ways that we try and figure out how can we help startups and what kind of support do they need is to think about them along these 4 axes. So one of them is the company pre-product market fit or post-product market fit? So have they found a product that they're going to be selling to customers? Are they technology push or market pull? So technology push are usually companies that are starting from universities, while market pull companies are ones that identify some kind of problem and then figure out a solution for that. Are they slow development cycle or fast development cycle? So that's usually like a hardware-software distinction, and it really matters about how quickly you're going to be able to iterate in response to what people need, or if you need to pivot. And then are they developing a product that requires a lot of expertise, domain knowledge, or is it something easy to use like an Uber app? So, if you look at these 4 axes, each one has 2 options. You might be like, okay, well, 2 to the 4, that gives me like 16 configurations. And so you can kind of like map them all out. Not all of them are relevant, but some of them are. And I won't have time to talk about all of the relevant ones here, but I just wanted to touch on a couple that are interesting to us. One of them is this market pull fast development cycle configuration. So that's pretty much like a typical Silicon Valley style startup. But in this particular case, they would have a high expertise product. So a good example of this is one of our main clients. They're developing fault-tolerant design software, and their customers are quantum hardware companies. So there, when you're trying to describe the product, it really requires a lot of technical expertise. So here you need domain expertise to do the communication. Then another scenario that's interesting to us are the ones that are pre-product market fit, technology push, and slow development cycle. So these are mostly all of the quantum hardware companies. They're very much from having a product that they can sell to customers. They've come out of a university. They're really pushed by the technology. And because they're doing hardware, it's a very slow development cycle, so it's not easy to pivot. And so these companies have a very different set of challenges. They kind of have to traverse something known as the Valley of Death. So it's the space between where you have access to research resources and access to commercialization resources, but kind of in the middle, you don't really have access to very much. And because you're pre-product market fit, you don't really focus on selling to customers, but you focus on trying to communicate to all the other people and the stakeholders, like the government partners and university partners and so on. And so there you really need a lot of ecosystem expertise in order to do the communication. So these are kind of the two configurations that are very interesting to us. And I don't have very much time. I wasn't able to dive into any of this stuff, but if you're interested to know more about these frameworks or some of the other plots that I've shown, you can go check out our Substack at insights.quantum.salon. And also we are accepting articles for submission. So if you're interested in writing on the topic of quantum technologies, also get in touch and I'd be happy to chat. Thanks very much.